Today's one of those days that I have been looking forward to for a while now because we're going to do something at the end of our gathering today that every single person here right now is going to have the chance to participate in that I think is going to be real special. But before we get to that, let me just, if you're newer to LCBC, let me catch you up a little bit and kind of orient you to a few things that have become a little bit of a tradition for us here at our church. You know, as followers of Jesus, we want our love to be easy to see. We want our love should be evident to people. We believe that when people think of Christians, the very first word that should come to mind for people when they think of Christians is, oh man, those people are loving. Now I know that's not always the case, but that's the way it was intended to be. And the reason for that is actually because Jesus said at one point that the world, outsiders, people who are not followers of Jesus, the world will know that you are my followers. How? By the way that you love one another. Now, he makes it real simple. He says, people around you are going to know that you're my followers, not by how much Bible you know. That's important, but that's not how they'll know. Not by how often you go to church. That's important. That's not how they'll know. Not how much you give away to people. That's important. That's not how they're going to know. The singular definition, the singular thing that's going to set you apart as my followers, he says, to the rest of the world is how well you love. And this is why we just made a decision a long time ago as a church that we were going to identify and find strategic nonprofit organizations in our communities who are doing exceptional work with the poor and the under-resourced, who are serving the sick, who are providing shelter for those who need it, who are giving dignity to the elderly and homebound, who are working with children with developmental and physical needs. And we just decided as a church that we were never going to compete with these organizations. We're not going to compete with them. Instead, we're going to partner with them. We're going to do what we can to help them go further faster. So we just set aside time every single fall. This is what we do now. This is the tradition part. We set aside every single fall to just focus our attention on our communities by simply asking, what can we do as a church to make our love easy to see? What can we do to unleash a flood of generosity and love and compassion on those in our communities who might be in need right now? And how can we come alongside our strategic nonprofit partners around the state and around the world now to help them go further, faster? And so because of this, look, I shouldn't be surprised by this because this is just who you are as a church. This is your character. This is just what we do. But over the last couple of weeks, I'm telling you, man, you kind of just blown me away again. You've stepped up as you always do. You've taken thousands and thousands of Operation Christmas Child shoe boxes that you're all bringing back now. And so thousands of children are going to get gifts who wouldn't have gotten gifts. You're filling up slots to serve for you and your family, or you and the group that you're a part of here at church, to go and to serve our partner organizations. Thousands of slots are getting filled all across the state right now and in our partner organizations. Our kids and students, they're getting in on the action with projects all this month that they're involved with. Actually, our students, just this week, our student ministry collected over 2 tons of food in 1 week, over 4,000 pounds of food that now we're working with local food banks and distributing that food. I got to tell you, man, I'm so grateful. I don't know how you feel. I'm so grateful to be a part of a church where my 6-year-old son is coming home telling me about the ways he wants to give here to help people. You know, that's not normal, right? And that's what we get to be a part of. It's amazing to me. And then just last weekend, you did it again. I mean, you stepped up. You actually set a record for how much money you gave in 1 weekend, and every single penny that we're giving in this season. You can still get in on this. I'll tell you about that in a second. But we're taking all this money right now through these Easy to See efforts. We're raising money, and we're giving every single penny away to our nonprofit partners across our communities. And we're not done with that. But you set a record last week. But if you weren't here and you want to get in on that, man, I would love for you to give. You can, give to lcbcchurch.com. You can text Easy to See to 20022. You can pull out your phone right now. I don't care if you're distracted. I don't care if you're not looking at me. Go ahead and give to that. Again, every single penny. And then I'll tell you how much we total gave probably the beginning of the year once we get through the holidays. But here's what I love about this season, actually. Let me tell you the thing I really love about this season. You really don't even have to be a Christian to get on board with this effort to make our love easy to see in our communities. I know that some of you are here and you're sitting there going, I don't know what I believe about Jesus. I don't know what I believe about the whole Bible stuff. Like, I'm just, some cute girl invited me. I don't even know where I'm at. Is this church, right? So I get it. If your motivation, but you don't have to be a follower of Jesus to get in on this. If your motivation is to give to these efforts and serve these nonprofit partners, is simply just, you just want to be a good neighbor. You want to be a good person. You want to be a good citizen. It's just to be charitable. Man, that's good enough. That's good. We'll take that because people are going to be helped as a result. But if you're a follower of Jesus, man, this is where it gets good. See, if you're a follower of Jesus, the reason why we do everything we can to make our love easy to see, the reason we give, the reason we serve, it is rooted in something so much deeper, something so much better than just we want to be nice people. It's better than that. It's so much better than just we want to be good citizens. Do you know why we do it? If your life changed by Christ, it's because we follow a Savior, a King, a new commanding officer, a new boss, whatever word you want to put to it. You got it? We follow a Savior who made his love easy to see for us in ways that were unimaginable. In fact, over and over and over again in the New Testament writings, the eyewitness accounts of Jesus' life, we read that Jesus loved the people that everyone else discarded. He loved the people that everyone else had given up on. The eyewitnesses to his life, they documented a phrase to describe Jesus that I just find so compelling. Again, read the New Testament, you will see this time and time again. They describe Jesus as being, here's the phrase, quote, moved with compassion. He was moved with compassion. What's your image of God? When you think of God, what do you think of? And I don't know, it might depend on how you were raised, but some of you think of God as stingy. You think of God as angry. You think of God as uptight, ready to catch us. No. You want to know how God is revealed in Jesus Christ? Full of compassion, loving in every way. How did he move himself with compassion? What did he do? Well, it tells us he reached out and he touched lepers. You know, you didn't do this in the first century. Leprosy was an incredibly contagious skin disease. Lepers were outcasts. You didn't touch lepers. No one was willing to touch lepers. And Jesus was moved with compassion and went and he touched them. What else did he do? He shared meals with known thieves and prostitutes. Who were they? The moral outcast. The moral outcast. And Jesus said, man, I was moved with compassion. And he went and he engaged them. What did he do? He fed the hungry on a hillside. Why? Because he saw physical needs and was moved with compassion and said, I'm going to do something about that. You cannot read the New Testament writings without getting smacked in the face with the reality that Jesus was moved by the broken and the discarded and the lost. The people that everyone else would run away from, Jesus ran towards. And I want to tell you, I'm so grateful for that. Because I know my life. You know, those thieves and prostitutes and liars and those people who were morally outcast, that was me. I got baggage. And people would run away, but Jesus ran towards me. And I want you to know he's run towards you as well. And his love for you is so immense. And the question then is this, I mean, if Jesus loved other people that way and we follow Jesus, well, what does that mean for us? That's a rhetorical question. You see, the first Christians, they came to the undeniable conclusion that if Jesus ran towards the very people that others would run away from, well, his followers, we do the same. In fact, there's a particular passage from a letter, it was almost like a sermon, a letter that was written to and sent to Christians living in the first century that begins to unpack what it means to make our love easy to see in the ways that Jesus did. I love the language of this. Listen to this. This is in Hebrews chapter 13. It says this, keep on loving. Keep on loving each other as brothers and sisters. You know, listen, loving others is hard enough, but it's that keep on part right there. I just wish, like, why'd you have to write that? Like, you could have kept that part out, right? The keep on part's the hard part. When my daughter Sienna, when she was a little girl, she was probably 6 or 7 years old, real little girl, and we bought her a basketball goal. I was informed last night that goal is not the right word. It's supposed to be called a hoop, but I grew up down south, so it's a basketball goal, all right? So we bought her a basketball goal and set that basketball goal up. And the very first time I ever took her out, I'm like, let's go shoot basketball. She had never touched a basketball, never shot a basketball. I take her out there in the driveway and she gets this basketball in her hands and I was gonna say shot it. It wasn't a shot. It was it was just a heave. It was a throw. There's no form to it whatsoever. She just launches the ball. And guys, I'm telling you, if it's about from 15 feet away, I'm telling you, nothing but net. Swish. And she looks me dead in the eyes and says, Dad, I am great at basketball. and then walked inside. Like she's ready to go play LeBron. You know what the writer's saying here? The writer's saying this: anyone can hit one shot when it comes to loving people. Anyone can hit one shot. But you know what followers of Jesus do? We keep shooting. We stay out in the elements and we keep taking shots. We keep on loving. We keep on loving. Not once, not twice, not 1,000 times. We keep on loving. We keep on loving even when it's not returned. We keep on loving even when it hurts. We keep on loving even when it brings a little pain. We keep on listening. We keep on praying. We keep on serving. We keep on encouraging. We keep on loving. Even if I don't feel like it, Jason? Yeah, especially when you don't feel like it. See, implicit to the idea to keep on loving in this passage here is that love is a choice. It's a decision we make. And this might be a no-brainer for many of you, but I always feel like when we talk about love, we need to kind of say this because our culture has sold us a lie that love is first and foremost and primarily a feeling. It's not true. I'm not saying you won't feel love every now and then. Yeah, we'll feel love now and then, but the root of love is a decision to act on another's behalf. That's love. I believe this with all my heart. You're probably the smartest gathering out of all the gatherings we have, all right? So just know that. Do not tell the others I said that, but I think you're the smartest. So let me just kind of test this theory out. See if you can finish this statement real quick, okay? Just finish this wherever you are right now, wherever you are. Just say this out loud. Actions speak louder than... I knew it. I knew you were the smartest. All right. See, here's what I know about you. Actions speak louder than words. What I know about you is that the people that you are most grateful for in your life, the people who've impacted you the most, they're not the ones who just felt love for you. They're not the ones who just talked about loving you. They are the ones right now that you have in mind who demonstrated their love for you. They risked something for you. They sacrificed for you. They, what do Hebrews say, kept on loving you. And here's the other thing I know about you. I think I could assuredly say this, is that the times in your life that you feel like you've made the most meaningful contribution to someone else's life, you didn't do it from a distance. You did it up close and personal. You know what I mean? Like no one's coming home and getting home and going up to their wife and saying, babe, you're not going to believe this. Today, I feel so alive. I feel so fulfilled today. Like I just live with purpose and meaning. And she says, why, babe? What happened? And you're like, because I saw someone posting on social media something they were going through and I clicked like. Purpose, meaning. No one's going home and saying, man, you're not going to believe it. Someone shared something and I just had such an impact because I said, my thoughts and prayers are with you. Now, the times that you have felt like you made the most meaningful contribution to someone else's life, I think I can guarantee you that somewhere underneath that, it was a decision you made to be involved in someone's life. You acted in love. You decided to what? Keep on loving them, even when it wasn't easy. Is there anyone in your life right now who needs you to keep on? They just need you to keep on. You've hit a few shots, but now you're ready to go back inside. Guys, I'm just telling you, that's how the rest of the world loves. But not us, not followers of Jesus. We keep on loving. Which raises a question. Where does someone find that kind of power and strength and inspiration to keep loving like that? I think this might be a little bit behind what's said next in that Hebrews passage. This is what the writer says next. He says, so don't forget to show hospitality to strangers. He's like, it's real simple. Here's one way to do it. Just show hospitality to strangers. For some who have done this have entertained angels without realizing it. We'll come back to that because that's weird and crazy. We'll come back in 1 second. Let me just point out two things about this real quick. First of all, the writer shifts the focus of attention to how we love people that we don't even know. He mentions strangers here. It's not just how we love the people that we know. How do we love the people we know nothing about, people who aren't like us, people we don't share much in common with? Because that's where real love can be expressed at times. And then look what it says. He says, so some have done this, like some have entertained angels without even realizing it. Guys, I'm not going to pretend to understand all that means. That is an absolutely crazy idea, but I think that what it means at the very least, is that followers of Jesus should treat people as if those people were sent to them by God to be loved and cared for. That'll change the way you see people. That'll change the way you see your mother-in-law. That'll change, somebody needed to hear that before going into this holiday. That'll change the way you see the stranger. What if they were sent by God to you? This is an echo. I actually think this passage right here is an echo of an incredibly powerful statement that Jesus made to his followers at one point that Matthew recorded for us. Jesus said that one day we are going to stand before him and we're going to give account for how we lived our lives. You need to know that. One day we're going to stand before Jesus and we're going to have to give an account for how we lived our lives. Some of you are like, well, I'm not a Christian though. I'm not religious. Doesn't matter. Everyone will. Because you were created by God. And we're going to have to give an account for how we loved him and how we loved others. And Jesus said that on that day, this is in Matthew 25, he said that on that day, he's going to say to some people, well done, well done. Why? Listen to what Jesus says. He says, for I was hungry and you fed me. And I was thirsty and you gave me a drink. And I was there's our word, stranger, and you invited me into your home. And I was naked and you gave me clothing. And I was sick and you cared for me. And I was in prison and you visited me. Now listen, if Jesus spoke those words right there to me one day, I'd probably be a little bit confused. I might raise my hand in that moment and be like, Jesus, I don't remember any of that. I don't remember the last time I saw you sick and made you some soup. I don't remember the last time I saw you thirsty and got you a drink. I don't remember visiting you in prison. And Jesus, I think, kind of knows we might think that. And so this is what he says next. This is how he responds to that. This is what he says. He says, I'll tell you the truth. When you did it to one of the least of these, my brothers and sisters, you were doing it to me. When you run towards the people that others have run away from, the least of these, Jesus says, I saw that. I saw it. And I was so proud. And I was so pleased. And I know you were doing it for me. And maybe it was these words of Jesus that were present and kind of rattling around in the back of the mind of that writer of Hebrews when they said what we read a moment ago, when they said, don't forget to show hospitality to strangers, for some have done this, have entertained angels without realizing it. In other words, there's just something so much more holy and mysterious and sacred going on when you choose to love those that others have overlooked, the least of these. And then the writer here in Hebrews gets real practical. He says, so let me give you some examples. So remember those in prison as if you were there yourself. And remember also those who were being mistreated as if you felt their pain in your own body. Let me ask you a question. What do you see when you look at people who are in situations that are worse than yours? They probably deserve it. Well, they must have brought that on themselves. Well, I'm so glad I'm not them. Well, I'm so glad I didn't end up where they've ended up in life. Guys, every one of those thoughts has gone through my head at one point when I've seen someone who's in a worse situation than mine. And I just know that it's a little bit easier to demonstrate and act in love towards someone who didn't bring it on themselves. And it's a little bit more challenging to act in love towards those who've ended up where they are because of their own dumb choices. Am I the only one on this? And yet, Jesus doesn't put conditions on any of this. Jesus never nuanced who was worthy of love and care. When he said, I was hungry and you fed me, we don't know if they were hungry because of the choices they made or because a famine had swept through the land. Choices, it's just circumstance they had no control over. We don't know if they were in prison because of a horrible life choice they made or because of some injustice against them. We don't know why they were sick. Jesus just says how they ended up where they ended up doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. He doesn't nuance who's deserving of our love and care. The love of Jesus is unconditional, no strings attached. His love for you is unconditional, no strings attached. His love for everyone is indiscriminate and unconditional. And here's what that means. The closer you draw to the heart of Jesus, the more intimately you walk with Jesus Christ, you will find your heart opening up more and more to unconditionally loving everyone around you. Because you've been in his presence. And that's just what he does. And in particular, you'll find yourself opening up more and more to unconditionally loving the people that others would have discarded. The sick, the lonely, the poor, the inmates. And that kind of love, guys, that can change things in this world. That can change things in your home, in your school, in your workplace. In fact, a writer from the early 3rd century, not long, a couple of generations after Jesus spoke those words and the writer of Hebrews wrote those words that we were just reading, he made this observation about the way in which Christians were responding by running towards the people that others ran away from, and how the whole world, the known world at the time, was taking notice of this. This is by a theologian, a writer, an early Christian named Tertullian, and he says this. He says, "It is our care of the helpless, our practice of loving kindness that brands us in the eyes of many of our opponents. Only look," they say, "look how they love one another." You know what Tertullian is saying here? He's saying that as early as the first couple of 100 years of the church, the defining mark, the distinguishing mark, the defining characteristic that caught the attention of everyone in the known world at the time, even people opposed to Christianity, even people who didn't believe any of the Jesus stuff, was when they looked at Christians, they go, man, their love's easy to see. And I love the idea that Tertullian here puts out about the brand of Christians being loving kindness. That was what they were known for. That was their reputation. And I just want you to know, we want that so badly for our church. That the first thing that would come to mind when people think of us would be, man, look how loving they are. They're kind of crazy. They believe in this resurrection thing. I don't know if I can go there, but man, they are loving. I don't know about the whole Bible stuff. I don't know about the whole faith stuff. I'm trying to figure some of that out. But one thing I can't deny, those are the most loving people I know. But wouldn't that be great to have that said about you, about us? And you know, one of the questions that just it haunts me related to this in our church is, man, if our campuses disappeared tomorrow from the communities they're in, would that community even notice? Like, would Harrisburg and West Shore even notice if tomorrow, boom, Thanos snaps his fingers, gone? Would Bloomsburg even know? Would Harleysville and Lansdale, Montgomery County, would they even notice if our church disappeared tomorrow? Because it would be so undeniable that we have made a dent in the community because we are people who make our love easy to see. Would our community sense a black hole of love and kindness because there was no longer a group of followers of Jesus there? Boy, I hope so. Let's make it a little bit more personal for a second. If you were to leave your place of work tomorrow, would your workplace, would your team, would they sense a void of love and kindness that you bring? If you were to leave your school tomorrow, would your classmates feel a vacuum of kindness and love left with you? If you were to move this week, would your neighbors protest and revolt saying, no, because love lives in your home and we all benefit from it, you're not moving? Would they sense a vacuum of love and kindness? What do? You know what we do? We run towards the people that others run from, and we keep on loving. We keep on. So in a moment, we're actually going to do something together as one church. Whether you're at one of our locations right now, you're watching online, wherever you are, this is something we did last year for the very first time, and we're real excited to do it again. We're going to take some time to remember. Remember that Hebrews passage said, remember? We're going to remember a group of people that tend to be forgotten. Specifically, we're going to have an opportunity to make our love easy to see as a church for inmates across the state. Last year, we got on the phone with different prisons all across the state, and we just asked them a real simple question. We called up these prisons and just said, hey, is there anything our church could do to make our love easy to see for the men and women who are serving time in your prisons? Guys, do you know that we had some of the directors of those correctional facilities, do you know that some of them started crying on the phone when we asked that question? Because they had never had anyone ask them how they could serve and love the people there. It's the first time they'd ever heard someone ask. And we were told, as we began to explore this, we were told that there's a ton of restrictions as to what we could and couldn't send into the prisons, as you might expect. We can't send food. It's good. You don't want my food anyways, so that's good. Can't send anything with staples and tape, no QR codes, can't say anything overtly religious. But with as many restrictions as we had, we decided, man, we're not going to let that stop us. We can send something in there. We're not going to let that stop us. We can create something to send into the prisons that would speak hope into their lives. And so today, every single one of you right now, you're going to get an opportunity to pack what we're calling a hope pack for inmates all across the state. In fact, this year, we're going to put together 15,000 hope packs that are going to be sent into 22 different facilities across the state, many of them in regions that we have locations. A couple of really cool developments, actually, that have happened since last year. Some of the prisons that we sent hope packs into are now open to talking about other ways we can get our content as a church and presence into those prisons. That's a pretty cool thing. I don't know where all that's going to go. We're just going to keep following God's lead on that. The other thing I think is really cool this year is for the very first time this year, we're going to be sending hope packs into a juvenile detention center. And for the first time, we actually have a federal prison that reached out to us who wants to get in on it and said, can you send them here? So we're going to be sending them into a federal prison. One other side note, we also want to remember correctional officers, the men and women who serve in these institutions. And honestly, many of the correctional officers are in roles, they just go unthanked. They go so unthanked. There are so many men and women who are in roles like that. First responders, police, fire, EMTs, people on the front lines of healthcare and hospitals, faithfully doing their job. Can we just take a moment and just honor all of them right now? Thank you. Because it goes unthanked. It just goes unthanked. So for the correctional officers, we're putting together something I think is very, very cool to send to them as well. Actually, at many of our locations this week, I'll show you some video real quick, some B-roll here. Students, our high school students actually got together and put together hope packs specifically just for the correctional officers. We're sending them actually a little gift. I think it's real cool, just to let them know they matter to God and they matter to us, and we just want to thank them for the work they do. Why? Again, we just want our love to be easy to see. We want to walk towards the people that others may have forgotten. In just a moment, you're going to have an opportunity to pack one hope pack of your own that's going to be sent to an inmate. But I want to take a moment actually and tell you what you're going to be packing in your bag, and then we're going to roll up our sleeves and get to work. Sound good? So here's the things you're going to be packing in the bags that you'll see here in just a moment. First is just a journal. And we actually packed these journals last year, a journal like this, and the inmates that we heard from, they were so grateful for this, and they just expressed this gives them a place to put their thoughts down. To keep track of anything that they need to. These journals, to me, what I just pray for and what I hope is that these journals give them an opportunity to reflect, to write prayers, to just reflect on what God is saying to them, to process what God might be doing in their lives. So we're just going to give them an opportunity to process, to think, to reflect. So a journal's going to go in there. We're also going to pack, you'll see a calendar. And this might seem really simple to you and to me, we're like a calendar. Does everybody, why you need a calendar? And yet these are the kinds of small things we just take for granted. But it's the small things like this that gives inmates a sense of agency over their life, just to even know kind of where they are on the calendar. And last year, they let us know they loved having the ability to just keep track of time and keep these calendars. Third thing we're going to put in there, you'll see an activity book. I love this. When you get this passed down, you're about to pack it, flip through it and just look at it. There's two parts to this activity book that I love. The first is this. At the back of the activity book, you'll notice this year we included a section for addresses. Inmates actually suggested, they asked, can we have a part for addresses? They don't have cell phones like we do. They don't keep, I have a place to keep all the phone numbers, emails, important information together. And so you know what this does? This is giving them an opportunity to stay connected. Don't we want to foster personal relationships? This is helping with that. But my favorite part of these activity books is you'll see in there's a lot of games, there's mazes, there's all sorts of different activities and all that kind of stuff, crossword, all that kind of stuff in there. But what I love most about it is interspersed through all of these are stories of life change. Stories from people here at our church who've experienced the life-changing love of Jesus. And don't we want the people receiving these hope packs to know that there is no one that is so far gone that God cannot forgive and give a fresh start through his work on the cross? There is no one, you know this, right? And don't we want them to know there is no one disqualified from the grace of God, and every one of us can experience new life in Christ? Man, I want them to know that. Last thing we're going to put in there, we're just going to put this little card. And it has 3 little phrases just full of words of affirmation. It just says you're loved, you're seen, you're valued. We get to remind them of some of these things that God says is true about them. You know, words matter, right? The Bible says that words have the power of life and death. We want to speak life over people. That's what we do here at this church. We speak life over people. So we're going to speak life over them. What's cool about this is if you turn the back, you'll see this is for you to personalize. It says, hey, this hope pack, it was prepared by, and it's got a little blank. You've got pins all around you, wherever you are right now, pins around your seats. I'd love for you to put your first name on there. Just put your first name. It's personal. This is not just from a church. This is from Chris. It's not from a church. This is from Justin. It's not from a church. This is from Amanda. Now, I want to stress something. You cannot write anything on this other than your first name. No, how's it going? No, how's the food? Nothing, okay? You cannot put your first and last name. You cannot put your first and middle name. If you feel like you can't control yourself, if you're like, I got to write a note, then skip this part, all right? Just skip this part entirely. Here's why. These prisons, they feel like they're taking a risk on us by letting us do this. I'll just tell you. They feel like they're taking a huge risk. I don't want to do anything to jeopardize the relationships that we are forming with them right now. All right? So don't be that person. All right? So just skip this part if you need to. But if you sit there, man, I want to make it, just write your first name on there. If you're joining online right now, there's an opportunity for you to participate as well. You can text the word PACK to 20022, and you're going to receive info about 2 different ways that you can participate. You can give resources to cover the cost of a pack. Obviously, it costs a little bit of money to send that out. Or you can also share your name with us, and we will put together a hope pack on your behalf, and we're going to put your name on it so it comes from you. Guys, listen. I recognize that these are small things. I get it. They're small. It's a calendar. It's a note card. It's an activity book. I understand. But please don't ever underestimate what God can do with small things. I received 2 notes this last year that I just want to share with you that make this point. The first note I'll share actually was just sent to me this week. I received a note from someone who actually works in one of the prisons that received hope packs last year. And this is what she said. She said, many of the inmates, unfortunately, have no family, no friends in the community to support them. I've seen how much our hope packs brighten their days. Now listen to this. To this day, I still see quotes and calendars hanging on the walls of some of the inmates' rooms. They've been there ever since last year. Those words of life. See, you think it's a small thing. I think it's a small thing, but those are reminders that they're loved. And they're still hanging on the walls. And then I received this letter months ago from an inmate who received one of the hope packs. This is what he said. He said, being an inmate at this time of the year is hard enough if you have someone outside of these walls. It's even harder, though, for an inmate like me who has no one left on the outside. So receiving this hope pack, this gift bag, made me see I am not forgotten. So I want to say thank you very much. See, to us, it's just a few items in a gift bag. But to that man, it was a reminder from the God who loves him unconditionally. He has not been forgotten. LCBC, let's keep on loving. Let's keep on loving. Let's keep on loving others who others have overlooked and felt forgotten. Let's keep running towards people that others have run from. So let's get these bags packed, all right? We're going to play a song, and we're going to have a team that's going to come down in just a moment to distribute the pieces for you to pack once the song starts. They're going to pass down your row one item at a time, and as they come to you, just grab one, pack it in your bag, and then keep passing it down your row. If you need to get up, stand up, pass it. Come on, throw your hands up. If you need to get up, stand up, pass it down your row, do that. When you're done packing your bag, just stay where you are. And we're going to dismiss together in just a few minutes at all of our places right now. After you've packed your hope pack, here's what I'd love for just encourage you to do. After you've packed your hope pack, I would encourage you to pray. Pray for the person who's going to be on the receiving end of that hope pack. You'll never know their name. You'll never know their name. But there's a man, there's a woman, there's a teenager on the other side of that hope pack that God loves beyond measure. Pray that they experience the love of God through something so simple. And if you don't know what to pray, don't really know how to pray, you know what I love? I love that worship songs sometimes just help me pray. They help say the things that I don't always know how to say. And so if that's you, just sing the song. Sing the words of the song as a prayer. You guys ready? Let's do this. Let's pack some hope.